About 2.5 years ago, I posted this video review of an HD spy pen. Now that video review is one of the most popular ones I've done. It's received almost 600,000 views, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about that because it turns out that the camera wasn't any good at all. It was actually upscaled SD. It was probably 640 by 480 or 320 by 240, but regardless, it produced washed out, jerky, blurry footage. Anyway, things have moved on. It's now 2.5 years later and I've finally got hold of a real HD spy pen, and just have a look at the difference in the quality of the video from this one. Now this is me stood on approximately the same spot 2.5 years later, and as you can see things have moved on quite a lot from the other pen. So let's have a good look at it. If you want to get hold of one of these, the only place you'll find it is eBay. It's sold by the same people who make and sell the 808-18 camera, and it's only about £30, which is approximately $50, which isn't bad. It comes in a packet like this. Don't expect a presentation box, that's to reduce on air freight costs. Inside the bubble pack you'll find these 4 items. We'll just look at those. Of course, this is a charging lead and video out lead. We're using the standard AV phonos there. Now this is the USB charging lead. You'll notice it's got a uncommon type of micro USB lead there, so you don't want to lose that one because it's a bit of a weird shape. You'll have trouble finding another one of those, I'd imagine. That's for charging and data transfer. Now of course obviously this is the main event. This is the pen itself. You'll see the 4GB sticker on the back. You can get different capacities and that sticker does peel off. At this end you've got the pen, obviously it twists out, and at the top there, that's the button that controls everything, one button, and there above the clip you can see the lens for the camera. Now of course that points away from the body. On the reverse of the camera you've got 2 holes that point towards your body. You'd have the microphone at the bottom there, and at the top, as you can see, the orange light shining through the LED hole there. So we'll just have a look how it operates. It's all from this one button. You tap it to turn it on, it goes on like that, and then immediately starts recording. You don't have to press again to start recording, it just does it itself. To go back into standby you'd have to tap it again, and the orange light comes on. It'll stay in standby for a minute and then switch itself off, or you can tap it again as I've done there to start it recording, tap again to stop recording. As I say now, if I leave it, it will switch off, but if you want to switch it off yourself manually, just hold it down like that until the light goes out. I'll just unscrew the pen in the traditional manner and put the camera part to one side. Inside the pen section here, you'll see the refill is right down at the bottom there, and it doesn't look like you can unscrew it to get to that, so don't expect to use the pen on a regular basis. That's really just for ornamental purposes. Now the other section here with the camera in it, you'll see the USB hole there, and below that is a slot for what looks like a micro SD card, but there's already something in there and it's snapped off and glued in, so don't expect to be able to replace that. And as far as I can tell, you can't get into it either without breaking it. Now there are quite a few people that use cameras like this, not for spying but for attaching to remote control planes or cars or whatever else have you, and they're quite interested in things like how much does it weigh. So for those people, here it is. It's 30.5 grams, and that's equal to 1.075 ounces. Now the reason you might want to use this pen over the traditional 808 camera, which is also used for these functions, is the fact that the lens is in a different orientation. You might find it more convenient to have a pen sort of pointing that way than a camera pointing the other way. It's your preference. Now let's have a look at that AV out lead. We'll see what it actually does. So we'll plug it into the camera at the bottom here, switch it on. I've plugged the other end of the wire into the back of this small monitor, so we'll just wait for it to wake up. And now it's on screen. As you can see, you can use this as a live viewfinder for the pen. Now that's something that won't be particularly useful if you're spying, but for somebody using the pen for something more sensible like attaching to a remote control plane and streaming the video back, that's a pretty useful feature. And as you can see now, I've just pressed the button on the top, it started recording, so it's now recording and streaming the video at the same time. But of course the battery's going to run down pretty quick if you're doing all this, so what you'd need to do then is to attach it to some kind of power source. And of course on the other end of that lead we do have that USB lead there that's doing not much much at all at the moment. So I'll plug that into the power supply now, and I'll just show you. If you look at the LEDs on the pen, the red one shows that the camera is receiving power, and if I switch it on now, you'll see the yellow one is above that to show that the camera is now on, and then the television will wake up shortly afterwards behind. So we're streaming and we're powering it now, but it will still shut down the video signal after a minute. It always powers the video off after a minute, unless of course you press record, and then the video will carry on throughout. So if you were going to stream this, attach it to a plane, stream the video, you're going to have to record all the way throughout, otherwise it'll go off like that. And that then inevitably leads into the question of how much video can you fit on the camera. Well, the camera records video in 25-minute segments. It continuously records until it's full and it doesn't loop around. Now it uses a variable bitrate, so 25 minutes can use sort of 1.4 or 1.6 gigabytes, but let's say it uses 1.5 to average it down. My 4 gigabyte pen will therefore fit 65 minutes worth of video on it. But you've got to remember the battery life for this pen is only 30 minutes long, which isn't long at all. It's finally time to head off out and take some test footage with the camera. So I've put it in the top breast pocket of my jacket here facing outwards, but does anyone really fall for these spy pens? I mean, who has a pen in their top pocket nowadays anyway? But regardless, the footage that I've taken with the camera, as you can see here, really looks pretty decent. Except of course when I start moving as I am doing now, the camera starts shaking about in my pocket left to right, and it causes a lot of CMOS wobble, which makes the video look a little bit sort of diagonal. But if we just take a freeze frame out of it, and as you can see there, it's nice and sharp, especially if we even zoom in on a section of it, you can almost read what's on that sign there. You can certainly read what's on this sign that I've frozen now. As you can see at the bottom there, a zebra burger for $5.99. It's about what I normally pay for a zebra burger, I think that. But there is a bit of a problem with the video. If you look, it's kind of got a bit of a washed out yellowy tinge to it, and the colours are a little bit kind of less than vibrant, but I suppose I can't be too picky. After all, I am recording this with a pen, which is quite amazing really. The rather impressive building behind me is the John Rylands Library, just the kind of place where I can test the low light capabilities of this camera. So let's go in and have a look. Yes, that really was me talking to my pen in the middle of Manchester. I think I'm in danger of getting a bit of a reputation. Now you might have noticed some sound interference on that bit there where you should have noticed it. Now have a think about what that might have been. I'll explain it later while I walk around the library here. Now you notice this is quite a challenging lighting environment. It's dim, but it's got these bright lights at the end through the stained glass window as well as these windows at the side, and the camera does have a bit of difficulty adjusting between those as I spin around. Now there was a bit of a Clockwork Orange exhibition on in here while I was there, because Anthony Burgess, the chap that wrote Clockwork Orange, comes from the Manchester area, so they had a bit of an exhibition for him. And as I walk over to this stand and then stand still, you can see the camera can resolve some quite fine detail even in low light. Heading outside the library again, this time I've got the pen held in my hand, and as you can see the added stability of that makes the footage a lot more viewable, but there is still that annoying sound effect. Now where's that coming from? Well, it's from the button on the top of the camera. It rattles around. So it doesn't sound like a big deal until you listen back to your recordings, and then it's really rather loud. So now I've learnt that I need to hold the camera steady, not shake it about, and I'm better off pointing it with my hand. So I'm going to take this part on its own, hold it in my hand. I'm now pointing it in the window of Forbidden Planet. Now I can point it in the right direction. I can frame things a little bit better. You can see the colours are a little bit orangey again. Let's go inside. You'll see it's a little bit washed out. I didn't notice that raving rabbit on the bottom right there when I was in the shop. I might go back and have a look at that. But anyway, it's nice and sharp when you pause the footage like I am doing now and frame something. But when I start moving the camera around a little bit, under lower light like I am in now, or artificial light, things do get a bit smeary. As you can see now as I spin around, you can hardly make anything out. But now I'm somewhere else again. Let's take a freeze frame out of this footage. There is a weird effect that happens when people walk past. It does make it go light and dark. But we'll just let that chap go past, then freeze it, have a zoom in there. You can almost see what's on the blackboards behind that chap there. Now I'll go and head over to my usual haunt, which is this corner here. You can see a lot on the image at once. It's got a reasonable wide angle lens. It's not a fisheye, but it's a sort of normal one. Same as the keyrings really. If I zoom in on the section in the centre here, you can see you can make out Fossil and Lush. which is better than some cameras I've tested. Now let's have a listen to some of the sound capability. So I just thought I'd do a very quick side-by-side comparison between the pen and the h.264 camera. This is the h.264 without the wide angle lens. So first off, you're looking at the pen at the moment, that's what I'm speaking to now, and now you're looking at the h.264 camera, so that gives you a bit of a comparison between the two. We'll see how they cope with the lighting conditions. So this is me in my garage, as you can see. I'll just switch off the lights. The other light now is coming through the windows slightly behind the cameras, so you can see how both of the cameras cope with those conditions. I suppose the only other test that's worth doing is for sound recording capabilities. With it being a spy pen, I suppose you're supposed to be listening to covert conversations. So I'm talking a little bit louder now than I normally would do. So I'm going to talk at a normal volume now and see how that sounds. And now I'm going to talk at a whisper and see if you can hear that. And if you can hear this, then it's not that spy pen after all. Yeah, what's that? Speak up. Anyway, this is the codec information for those people that are interested. It's a proper h.264 codec, 1280 by 720, 30 frames a second, 7 megabits a second. Right, so this is a pretty good spy pen, but let me just point out some of the downsides to it. First off, putting a spy pen in your top pocket, well, I don't think anyone's going to fall for that. Second, there is a bit of an issue with regard to light and dark. Watch what happens when these people walk past. It all goes bright and then dark again. The camera does have difficulty coping with adjustments like that. Now there's another one here. Look at the colour palette now, and as I spin the camera around to the left, everything goes yellow there. It's like the sun just came out. I'm doing it in slow motion, so look, it's all blue at the moment and now it's yellow. So the camera does have a bit of an issue with colour balance. But the big problem that I've had with it has been the button. Making this video was nightmarish because whenever I got the camera out of my pocket, I'd found I'd recorded the inside of my pocket. You know what you're looking at now? Well, I don't either, it's all black, but what you're listening to is the sound of a sorting office somewhere in the world 4 days before the camera got to me. That's because even in that bubble pack, they'd managed to press the button and record something they didn't want to record. Right, so using my time machine, I've gone forward in time, looked at the questions that you put under this video on YouTube. I've now gone back in time to now answering them before you've even asked them in the first place. If that's not a paradox, I don't know what is. So what's the price? Well, it's about £30 or $50 US. Those are October 2012 prices. Where'd you get it from? eBay only. Don't expect to walk into Walmart and pick one off the shelves. It's just eBay and that's it. It comes from China. And how do you set the time and the date? Well, there's going to be some more information about that on my blog. There's a link to that in the video description and some more answers. No, the video doesn't loop around. It doesn't do motion or sound activation either, and haha, no, it doesn't work as a webcam. In fact, I didn't omit any features at all in this video review. If it isn't in the video review, that's because it doesn't do it. So there you have it. That's my review of what to my knowledge is the first proper HD spy pen on the market. None of that upscale 1280 by 960 motion JPEG rubbish, but a proper 720p h.264 spy pen, which of course makes it the best spy pen on the market. But whether or not you actually need a spy pen, well, that's for you to decide. But for the moment, thanks for watching.